All right, let's talk about it, man. Obviously, fantasy drafts are in session. There's a lot of people mock drafting, but then also taking their teams. Lucky for you, Prabhat and I have had a chance to do it. My name is Justin Henry. That's Prabhat Parmar there on the other side, talking best and worst picks here in the fantasy drafts. And for fantasy football, man, the first round is obviously where everybody starts to look at their elite talent. And I don't really think there's a bad, pick either way, just a terrible pick either way, right? You're going to get a lot of talent. So, P, when you look at this first round, like, how are you assessing the talent here? Are you looking for best value? Are you looking for your guy? Like, talk to me a little bit about your first round strategy before we get into these best and worst.
You know, you really do want to look at value, but at the same time, you want to get your guy. You know what I'm saying? In snake drafts, you may not always have that opportunity, but just based off of how you want to construct your roster, it's really dictated off the first few rounds. So when I'm looking at this first round, yeah, I'm looking at getting my guy, but it also has to be value attached to that.
Has to be value because there's some duds in there too, man. Some players you may not want to take at cost. And I think that's the biggest thing I
Mm,
look at is ADP. It's
yeah.
cost, is who has the best value. And sometimes I don't care about ADP in the first round, as we're going to find out here very soon. I don't care about what everybody says about ADP. I have my own guys, and I'm looking at ceiling, I'm looking at floor, and a combination of other things to make sure we get the best value here in the first round. But obviously, we could talk about best. We're going to talk about worst. But who's the player you're either targeting your drafts, like I have to get him every round in the every pick in the first round, or who do you think is the best value pick in the first round, or maybe it's a combination of both?
Yo, the best value pick, and I think one of the best picks overall, and it's really because this dude slept on, is Saquon Barkley. You know, a lot of people are looking at Christian McCaffrey's, Brees Hall's, Bijan Robinson's, and oftentimes Saquon is forgotten when ranking the top running backs, right? So Saquon, in my opinion, has that same upside as those backs, but also an extremely high floor on this new offense. So in my opinion, that's the best value in the first round.
Yeah, we've seen Saquon be elite in the past, and he's probably in the best situation he's ever been in his entire career. So I'm with you there on Saquon Barkley being a value. My best pick, and for those who have watched already, they already know my take on this. But my favorite and best pick in the first round is Bijan Robinson, who's currently
Mm,
going as the RB3, sixth overall in drafts. So you can get him outside of the top five picks. And this is a player, P, that I rank inside of he's my number one player
mm,
for fantasy, number one running back. But the reason why, and I think a lot of people are scared about Bijan Robinson, it's because of Tyler Algier. It's because of the reports that he's going to take on a big workload and not fully understanding that that's coach speak for a player that has to be put up. They're not going to tell Tyler Algier, hey, you're a former 1,000-yard guy and we're not going to use you. So I think there's going to be certain spots where we see Tyler Algier, and there's going to be a time where Bijan may be nicked up and Tyler
mm.
Algier will have to play a role. But when you talk about CMC usage and the way that Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson have been talking about his role in this offense over the entire offseason, it lets you know there's going to be a big year in store for Bijan Robinson, who also said he's chasing 2,000 yards this year rushing, which
Oh,
lets me know this is an upside play. So in a round full of a lot of question marks, or maybe we don't know if they're holding out, if they're injuries, to me,
mm,
Bijan Robinson has the most upside, and that's the player I like the most at his value in this first round.
okay.
So obviously that's the best picks that we have. P, you agree with the Bijan pick? You like Bijan this year?
I mean, I like Bijan. I ain't gonna hold you. You know, Bijan's a good player. As far as best value, like that's my whole thing with Saquon. I go back to the whole Saquon thing. The best offense he's been on. Think about how many goal line opportunities they're gonna have. Think about like how the fact that they can't stack the box. Everything that we hoped Saquon was gonna be in his New York days, he has every opportunity to do that with Philly.
Yeah.
One of the top offenses, one of the top offensive lines, and with that new offensive coordinator over there, I think it's all green flags over there for Saquon, man. No pun
Love it,
intended.
man. Well, we talking about green flags for Saquon. Let's get into some red flag players, man. And this is the worst picks in each round. And
Mm,
worst pick in the first round, it's tough to be like, this is the worst, because every pick in the first round is good.
yeah.
But P, who do you think is the worst pick right now in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, you said it, right? Every pick is going to be a good pick. But as far as value wise goes, the worst pick, and this is solely based off of where he's drafted and where he's lumped up it, is Jamar Chase. And the reason why I have him as the worst value is people right now are saying he's a consensus top 3 pick, top 3 wide receiver, right? They got CD, they got Tyreek, and then they got him as wide receiver 3. And to me, that's just crazy. He's more closer to your AJ Browns than your Tyreeks. He should be valued more on the back end. And on top of that, you got not just injury history for him, but Joe Burrow, right? Their offensive line still is a little shaky. And just how it's been with those other wide receivers, you got Tyreek, you got Jamar, you got Justin Jefferson, even Amon-Ra St. Brown, but those in CeeDee Lamb, those three, those top 3, really, those true top 3, they are the offense. Jamar Chase is a big part of that offense, but he's not the offense. He's I don't think that he has the upside as the number 1 overall player, like a lot of people are saying. And his floor is not as high as like Amon-Ra St. Brown's. So for that reason, that's the worst pick in my opinion.
It could be said that Amon-Ra's floor is Jamar Chase's ceiling. It could be even said that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say it, but I'm saying it. You feel me?
Hey,
like,
he said it, man. It got to be said sometimes.
You know, it's like the best season we've seen for Jamar Chase kind of looked like Amon-Ra's floor of last season, which he's only going to get better. So I don't mind saying that Jamar Chase is the worst pick. Yeah. Now, do I think he has a little bit of upside we're not accounting for? Yeah, but I think you could do better. I think it's ADP. It's not the player, it's the ADP, especially.
It is. Facts.
And I'm wearing this Niner hat, and this is a very tough thing for me to say as a Niner fan, but I think the worst pick in the first round is Christian McCaffrey right now. And like I said, I got the Niner attire on, but he's going as the overall number 1 player right now, the RB1 in drafts. And he's already coming into the season now with a calf injury, which wouldn't be as concerning if we already didn't hear Kyle Shanahan talking about we got to save Christian McCaffrey from himself. Yeah. And that's the talk. So when you have other running backs in the fold, this team has drafted running backs now in the last 4 or 5 seasons. Talk about guys like Trey Sermon. We got, obviously this year with Isaac Guerrero. And we've seen other running backs in the past. Jordan Mason is also on the team, Eli Mitchell. So they're trying to find ways to complement the run game and use multiple backs at time. And I think this might be the first year that we actually see that. So whether it's Elijah Mitchell, whether it's Jordan Mason, who's been a standout in preseason so far, whether Isaac Guerrero gets his chance or not, my concern for CMC is that this team is more focused on winning a Super Bowl and keeping him upright than it is about seeing him go for the touchdown record as he was doing at points during the time last season. I love Christian McCaffrey, the player, but we also have injury risk built in. We have a lesser workload built in. And now there's concerns about they might be opening up the pass game. As you can see with them drafting Ricky Pearsall, it looks like this team's going to try to open things up a little bit more. I'm out on CJ. I'm out at Christian McCaffrey at the draft price. The good thing is there's a lot of players at their value that could be taking at number 1. So sometimes you get CD, sometimes you get Tyreek Hill number 1. Sometimes people like me are taking Bijan. Breece Hall goes up there. So if he slips into the mid-first round, now we're talking about CMC.
Yeah. And
CMC at his current value right now, I'm not feeling it.
And it doesn't. I could feel that. I can respect that. And that calf injury that he's had right now is the same one that kind of was hampering him at the end of last year too. So. Bit of concern, man, with that workload. So, I could vibe with it.
Well, those are the best picks of the first round, best and worst picks of the first round. We're going to get into the second round.